The US economy is slowing faster than expected, but inflation is still sticky. The latest US GDP data came in on Friday and it was much worse than expected. GDP growth was 1.4% while the market expected 3%. Final sales were only 1.2% versus 2.6% expected. That means real economy demand is slowing, while consumers are still spending up 2.4%. But here is the problem. Inflation is still elevated. The GDP deflator came in at 3.7% above expectations. PC inflation came in at 2.9%, slightly higher than forecasted. And the core PC was also ticked up. So what does that mean in simple terms? It means that the economy is slowing. Inflation isn't falling fast enough. This is the worst case macro scenario for central banks because they can't cut rates aggressively because inflation is still sticky. But at the same time, we can see that growth is slowing, which increases recession risks. Let's see what's going to happen when the new Fed chair comes in. Just some data to keep in mind and what it means. Then I want to show you Bitcoin's chart and where we are heading to. But stay until the end because I'm going to share one project all of you must add to your portfolio. This project is slowly gaining a lot of momentum and I see it as outperforming all other altcoins in 2026, but wait until the end and I'll tell you which project I'm talking about. Now looking at Bitcoin's chart, we have 4 key levels to watch for here. The first one is this consolidation range. We've been going into the consolidation range now for the past 4 weeks. And the first critical point is looking for the breakout out of this range to the upside or break down to the lower side towards the strong support. On the lower side we have the 65k level. Once we broke below that and we hold, then we're going to hit the support zone, which is the 52k level, 52 to 54k level. That's imminent if we broke below this consolidation range, which hopefully marks the bottom, and that brings us to about minus 58% from the all-time high at 126. So 60% drop down, which is reasonable to expect in a bear market for Bitcoin compared to the previous cycles as well. On the upper side, we got 72k level. Once we break above that, we are heading up to the resistance level at 80k level. And once we break above that, then we are going further to the upside. But the first is breaking out of this consolidation range and then reaching the critical resistance and support zones. This is the next 2 targets we are looking for. I personally think we are likely going to go to the downside, and this is where we would mark the bottom, potentially in Q3 or even Q2. A lot of people are saying that if we follow the 4-year cycle perfectly, that should be in Q4, but I personally think this would happen earlier than that. So watch out for these levels. Next, we keep monitoring that on Discord if you want to see technical analysis, what I'm buying, what I'm selling. Even yesterday we made a trade and we're already up 70% in the past 48 hours. Feel free to join Discord and you should be able to make money with us even in a bear market. The market never sleeps, it's full of opportunities. If you want to catch those, join us and be part of Saratoshi Group. That's on Bitcoin. We'll keep observing these levels. Now I want to talk about the project that will outperform all the other altcoins in the market, and I'll tell you why now. The project that I'm talking about is SUI. You know, I've been talking about this project since 40 cents back in 2024. We bought it on Discord, it went up to $5, we sold a portion, and now we are buying back in again. This is the insane part here. We see the weak data, but what is happening while macro is weakening? Wall Street just launched 2 SUI ETFs. Canary Stake SUI ETF with ticker SUIS. This is a spot SUI ETF with staking rewards built in. So investors get price exposure plus yield inside a regulated ETF. The second one is the Grayscale SUI staking ETF. Ticker is GSUI. Grayscale converted their SUI trust into a spot ETF with staking. This is huge because it makes one of the first mainstream staking enabled altcoin ETFs in the US. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, a new layer 1. This is institutional validation that SUI is being taken seriously as a long-term blockchain and a solid project after Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think soon we're going to see SUI competing with Solana. This is actually even bigger than just SUI itself. These are mainstream altcoin ETFs with yield. That means Wall Street is preparing for a world where institutions want crypto exposures but also want yield in a regulated structure. This is the next evolution after Bitcoin ETFs. And do you remember what happened with the Bitcoin ETF back in 2024? We saw short term sell the news, but long term massive inflows and price explosion. So the same psychology applies here, and to happen to see right now we are in a bear market and C is being suppressed. But this is your opportunity. You should see that as an opportunity because we will see massive gains for C in 2026. My previous target and what we reached for C was $5, and this time I'm betting on $10 for C token. These early launches, what we see right now for C, often mark the beginning, not the top. So if you grab a few C tokens right now, you will thank me later in 2026 or 2027. So that's for me today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.